Welcome to the Anatomy series, where we explore some alternative ways to appreciate the beauty that resides within us. Today, we're going to explore embryology when viewed through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine. This video is for educational purposes only and is in no way a substitute for advice from a qualified medical professional. My name is Tira Ashby. I'm a chiropractor and osteopathic practitioner. I'm happy to share with you some of the new ways to consider ourselves and our place in the world around us. When someone is asked to describe osteopathy, somewhere in the description I often hear that it is a discipline based on embryology, physiology, and anatomy. In my experience, most osteopathic practitioners are comfortable with the physiology and anatomy components of osteopathy, but how many of you are comfortable with the embryology? I have two huge stumbling blocks with the way we teach embryology. For one, the patriarchal way we describe conception is atrocious and drastically incorrect, which is a soapbox for another day. And two, everything you try to memorize as occurring during the embryonic period, which is the first 8 weeks of life, is what is occurring in a chick embryo, a chicken, and they assume it would be similar in a human. Why a chicken? Because eggs are easy to fertilize, grow quickly in a lab, and there isn't a mountain of ethical considerations in terminating and dissecting them at any stage. Instead, I would like to start our exploration of embryology from a different perspective. I find many similarities between the philosophy of osteopathy and the philosophies of Eastern disciplines because we still look at the whole person and not at the individual symptoms. So let's explore embryology from an energetic perspective according to the principles found in Chinese philosophy. It is written in the Tao, the one begets the two begets the three, and the three begets the 10,000 things. What does this mean? And how is it related to embryology? Let's put that thought on the shelf. In the Chinese philosophy of yin-yang, yang is known as the more masculine energy. It is the active force in nature, an expansive, rising energy that is symbolized by the rising sun. The main concept of yang that I want you to remember is it governs and regulates. Yin, on the other hand, is the more feminine energy. It is the receptive movement in nature, a grounding and regenerating energy that is symbolized by the setting sun. The main concept of yin that I want you to remember is it nourishes and replenishes. But there is a third element in the yin-yang philosophy that people don't talk about, and that is the space that is created between the two. And this is the space where qi resides. Qi is generated by the movement of yang in relation to yin, and resides in the space between everything else. Therefore, qi has the potential to create. That means yin-yang is a trilogy, not a duality, and requires constant motion to maintain its form and function. This reminds me of my other favorite trilogy, the lemniscat. The lemniscat is much more than a figure eight. It is a three-dimensional figure eight in motion. The dynamic movement around each pole creates the emergence of a third entity at the inflection point between the two. The interplay of the lemniscat can be found in every interaction and relationship in the world around us. So now when we look at the teachings of the Tao, we see the bigger meaning to the one begets the two begets the three, and the three begets the 10,000 things. But what does any of this have to do with embryology? let's replace the traditional black and white of the yin-yang symbol with blue, orange, and green, where blue represents yang that governs and regulates. The orange represents the yin that nourishes and replenishes, and the green represents the qi that has the potential to create from the movement of yang in relation to yin. The sperm represents the archetypal energy of yang. It is freely mobile, packed with energy, and produced outside of the body. In other words, yang lives fast and dies young. The egg, on the other hand, represents the archetypal energy of yin. It is waiting in reverence, packed with nutrients, and produced inside the body. Yin lives quietly and lasts forever. But there is something missing in this picture. It is the space in between the two, and the space in between is packed with qi, or the archetypal energy of potential. Peter Dedman, the author of the authoritative manual of acupuncture, says, all aspects of the human organism derive from the coming together of the essence of the parents. When the two essences struggle against each other, the spirit is formed. According to Chinese philosophy, the Shen, or spirit, or archetypal energy of potential, is located in the kidneys and heart. We will come back to this. At week 2, after the union of the sperm and the egg, we have a bilaminar disc. In traditional embryological texts, it is pictured like this. The blue region on the top is the amniotic cavity, where the ectoderm develops. The orange region at the bottom is the yolk sac, where the endoderm develops. By week 3, we have a trilaminar disc, where the movement of the yang energy of the ectoderm in relation to the yin energy of the endoderm creates a third type of tissue, the mesoderm. And the mesoderm is responsible for the 10,000 things associated with embryological development. In traditional embryology, this stage is associated with the growth of the primitive streak and the emergence of the notochordal process, which is the initial appearance of mesoderm in the embryo. At the beginning of week 4, the ectodermal amniotic cavity starts wrapping around the endodermal yolk sac, creating the umbilical ring. At the same time, the first flexion of the neural tube folds the mesodermal embryological heart into the ventral body cavity, where it begins to beat. By the end of week 4, the embryo is completely surrounded by the yang energy of the amniotic fluid and is connected via the yin energy of the umbilical cord to the endless potential of the placenta. Now we can visualize the trilogy of the human body. The ectoderm creates the central and peripheral nervous system, sense organs, and epidermis of the skin. It is more mobile, packed with energy, and located more on the outside of the body. The yang energy of the ectoderm governs and regulates the body. In Chinese medicine, the yang channel is called the du, or governing channel. It follows the neural tube up the midline of the back, connecting the kidneys to the heart and brain. It is the channel that governs and regulates the organs. The endoderm creates the lungs, digestive tract and associated organs, bladder, and urethra. It is waiting to respond, packed with nutrients and found more on the inside of the body. The yin energy of the endoderm nourishes and replenishes the body. In Chinese medicine, the yin channel is called the zhen, or conception channel. A better name would be the nourishing channel. It follows the gut tube up the midline of the front of the body and is associated with the umbilical cord. It is the channel that nourishes and replenishes the organs. According to Peter Dedman, the conception and governing vessels are like midnight and midday. They are the polar axis of the body. There is one source and two branches. One goes up the front and the other up the back of the body. When we try to divide these, we see that yin and yang are inseparable. When we try to see them as one, we see that it is an indivisible whole. And the mesoderm creates the 10,000 things in the spaces in between. This includes the heart, blood vessels and blood, kidney and ureter, uterus and genital ducts, peritoneum, skeletal musculature, and skeleton. Remember, we said that in Chinese philosophy, the spirit, or shen, or the archetypal energy of potential, is located in the kidneys and heart. We can visualize that here. The energy of the mesoderm has the potential to create from the motion of qi. Through the lens of Chinese philosophy, we can see the human body as a dynamic interplay between governing and regulating, nourishing and replenishing, and the potential to create. A trilogy, requiring a balance between action and rest, regulation and replenishment, in order to generate the most potential in the space in between. And what is the most abundant thing found in the spaces in between? Water! I outline this in detail in my course called The Quantum Body in Health. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of embryology through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine. You can discover more workshops and lectures on my website, integratedbalance.ca, or follow me on my social media platforms. Join me next time when we tease apart another interesting concept in the anatomy series.